post-9/11 GI Bill, which you've referenced earlier. It is arguably the most extensive educational assistance authorization since the original back in 1944, I believe. What are the benefits afforded under the post-9/11 GI Bill, and how does it make it easier for the veterans and their beneficiaries to realize their educational desires?
The post-9/11 GI Bill has been in effect essentially since August of 2009. So we've had about 4 years or so of using it. And as I mentioned earlier, we've spent about $35 billion and served about 1 million beneficiaries. And you're absolutely right. The post-9/11 GI Bill is a comprehensive educational benefit. It's broken into basically 3 pieces. One is tuition. We pay for the veterans' tuition. Specifically, we pay for the veterans' tuition at public schools, whatever that tuition is, and then there's some restrictions with private schools. We also provide up to $1,000 for book stipend for veterans as they go through this, and then finally a housing stipend. That housing stipend is whatever the housing allowance is for a married E5 in that particular area. And so combining those 3 things, tuition, veterans don't have to worry about. Books, veterans shouldn't have to worry about. And having a housing stipend such that they can live and pay their bills and focus on schools is critically important. So this post-9/11 GI Bill is worth 36 months of benefits, and veterans have up to 15 years to use it. So it's a pretty comprehensive benefit. And so what it allows for is it increases that accessibility to higher education for veterans and their dependents, by the way. One unique aspect of this post-9/11 GI Bill is that veterans can provide some of those 36 months of benefits to their spouses and or dependents. They have to make that election while they're still in the service. The GI Bill has never been available to beneficiaries other than the veteran themselves. So that's another key aspect of it.
So, Curt, on April 2012, the President directed the federal government to improve consumer information and protection services to veterans through Executive Order 13607, Principles of Excellence for Educational Institutions Serving Service Members, Veterans, Spouses, and Other Family Members. That's a mouthful, but would you tell us more about the key requirements of this executive order, and more particularly, what tools does it provide to actually achieve its goals?
To ensure that educational institutions are being held accountable for ensuring that veterans' benefits are fully leveraged, the President signed out an executive order in 2012 called the Principles of Excellence. And what that executive order does is it directs agencies, VA, DOD, Department of Education, to implement and promote compliance with the principles of excellence for educational institutions that interact with veterans. What happens with that is service members and their families look at the principles of excellence as a set of guidelines in which institutions that receive this federal funding, including GI Bill, agree to comply. To date, we've got about 6,000 schools that have agreed to adhere to those principles of excellence. And broadly, just broadly, because there's a lot in it, it provides meaningful information about the financial cost and quality of the school. It prevents abusive and deceptive recruiting practices, and provides high-quality academic and student support services. So the principles were designed to ensure that students, veteran students, are given the right tools to assist them in making informed decisions. Again, we want to make sure that veterans are informed consumers. One of the tools that you asked about was we're in the process of building and developing a GI Bill comparison tool that can be used for veterans and their dependents that provides them incredibly valuable information to help them make the right decision. This comparison tool can call up a school, tell you how many veterans are attending, can tell you whether the school has agreed to comply with the principles of excellence. It can tell you whether it's a yellow ribbon school. It will tell you information from the Department of Education's information in terms of graduation rates, not for veterans, but graduation rates across the board for all students at that school, loan default rates. And so it gives you a whole bunch of information such that you can make that informed decision. We're also developing a centralized interagency feedback system that veterans can write in through our website and tell us whether or not they believe a school is adhering to the principles of excellence? And if not, what is that school doing? And we will then address that with the school, and we will research, and we will find out whether or not the school is, in fact, doing things like deceptive marketing and so on and so forth. So the feedback mechanism is there to allow veterans and their beneficiaries to report schools' behaviors when it comes to some of the principles of excellence.
I want to talk about another program that you folks are administering. It's the Veterans Retraining Assistance Program. Would you tell us more about it, how it was implemented, and how has it served as a catalyst to improve collaboration and coordination?
We call it VRAP. Is a joint program between the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Department of Labor. It was passed about 2 years ago as part of the bigger law, Vow to Hire Heroes law, that the President signed in November of 2011. And what this program provides, and it kind of goes back to the previous comment I made, it provides 12 months of educational benefits to veterans between the ages of 35 and 60 who are unemployed and have no educational benefits. So, for example, when I said 80% of unemployed veterans are over the age of 35, this program hits that sweet spot because a lot of those veterans between 35 and 60 are not entitled to the post-9/11 GI Bill. But even if, for example, they were entitled to the post-9/11 GI Bill and or Montgomery GI Bill, but used up all of their benefits. The requirements are unemployed, 35 to 60, and don't have any GI Bill benefits available to them. And it provides 12 months of educational benefits for a certificate program or an associate's degree program. It doesn't 12 months may not get you a complete associate's degree, but it'll get you on your way or help you finish it. And so what you do is we've created over 200 high-demand occupations. So you have to sign up for one of the high-demand occupations. And the key to that is we want to make sure that veterans are using these educational benefits for real jobs and meaningful employment when they complete that 12 months of benefits. It's been overwhelmingly successful. In just the time frame of the last couple years, we've had over 143,000 veterans apply. We've approved 126,000 veterans for the benefit because sometimes people apply and they're not qualified for any number of reasons. We've seen where over 74,000 veterans have used the program to the tune of about $700 million.